7 is in the books. I appreciate you guys continuing to come and stick with us. I heard there might be a few happy campers. You got a chance to take some pictures and videos at different times of practice today. Hopefully you got some things that you wanted. But practice 7 today concluded. We went half pack today, just helmet and shoulder pads. Had a chance to do some move the ball things at the end, just in thud tempo. And thing I was really excited about today is finally felt some personality out of the football team. When the defense would make some plays, I felt the defense finally got enthused, got excited, and was able to sustain some series in a row. Offensively, kind of the same thing. You know, they were down a little bit, finally made a play, got some juice going, turned the momentum of the practice, and it was good to see it go back and forth and finally see some personality out of the football team. So with that being said, open it up to any questions that anyone may have.
Chris, you're midway through spring camp. What are some of the things that have stood out to your team, midway through?
There's a number of things that have stood out. The thing that continues to be consistent with this football team is the attitude and the effort when they show up. We probably, out of those 7 practices, would have one day that I would say our effort wasn't where it needed to be, but our attitude and effort has been fairly consistent. Like I mentioned before today, after practice 7, we finally felt some personality come out with the individual players that fed into the offense and to the defense, and we need to continue to build on that. Those are the positive things that have stood out. The tempo, the intensity, the way we want to practice continues to get better and better. The thing we have to improve, though, is the execution. I tell the team all the time, we can go fast, we can have great intensity, we can play extremely hard, which we are, I think, for the most part. But if we don't have the proper execution, what do you have? Really nothing. And that's the part that as we continue in the second half of spring, I think they understand the standards that have been laid down and the way we're going to practice. But the execution has to get a lot better on both sides.
Chris, with the Coaches Clinic coming up, what are you hoping to get out of that, and will you take elements from Ohio State, Wisconsin, Arkansas into what you build that weekend into?
Well, the clinic it's the right thing for us to do. It's an opportunity to do 2 things. One, promote the game of football here in the state and in the region. We're going to have a bunch of New Jersey high school coaches here, plus we're going to have them from New York, Pennsylvania, and from surrounding states. So it's an opportunity to promote the game, and I think that's the first thing that we want to do with the clinic. We have a bunch of our staff speaking, we have high school coaches speaking, we have other college coaches speaking. Coach Barry Alvarez will be coming from Wisconsin to talk a little bit about just his philosophy on coaching. The other part of it's build relationships. When you get a chance to promote the game of football and open your doors and let people come in to see your program, you hopefully have an opportunity to build relationships that help you in recruiting and help you build the program that you want.
Chris, how have the quarterback reps been divided? Any separation in that competition at all as you go forward?
Yeah, it's been the same so far. All of them are getting reps with the ones. Right now I'd probably say Laviano's getting a few more reps. He's kind of, he hasn't separated himself, but he's probably had a few more productive days as we've gone through 7 practices. He's had good days, bad days, and all of them have had good days and bad days. He's probably had more good days than some of the other guys, so he's probably getting a few more reps right now.
And how do you plan to manage those reps in the scrimmage on Saturday?
Kind of like we have the last few days. We had a scrimmage last Saturday. Chris probably played the best of all 3 quarterbacks in that scrimmage last Saturday. As we're headed into this scrimmage Saturday, they're all 3 going to get reps with the 1s and the 2s. Chris has probably earned up through 7 practices the right to get a few more reps than the other guys, and that will be reflected in the scrimmage.
Coach, what has Chris done well to really assert himself?
Well, he understands the offense. He has protected the football, not as good as we want to, but he's probably protected the football better than the other quarterbacks. And when I say that, he's made better decisions. But I think the overall understanding of what we're trying to do, how to get the call from the sideline, be able to get guys lined up, call the play out on the field. If it's not right, get the picture right. If somebody's aligned wrong, he understands how to get them aligned right. And probably, when you're going with tempo, you talk about 2 things. You talk about emergency and urgency. He right now is operating with a lot of urgency back there in the no-huddle offense, and not necessarily with a lot of emergency. It's slowing down for him a little bit, probably more so than the other ones. Not saying there's not a big separation, but he's probably just a few steps ahead of the other guys.
Chris, how do you do it in the scrimmage? Do you give a guy a whole series? Do you give multiple in the scrimmage? Do you give guys multiple series? How do you divide up the quarterback reps?
They're going to go in with the series. I mean, you want them to get in there, get some reps, get comfortable, get going with the flow of a series, and we'll rotate it by series, not within the series.
For the spring game, have you thought much about how you're going to do that? A traditional spring game, 4 quarters, running clock, just some drills? How do you?
Yeah, we're going to have a game. It's going to be a 4-quarter game. Haven't finalized the length of the quarters and when we're going to run the clock and things like that. But the layout of the teams and things like that have done it a lot of different ways. Right now, we're probably going to have the 1s and the selected 3s against 2s and selected 4s at certain positions. That way we've got all of our 1 offense and all of our 1 defense working together, and we can have hopefully a nice clean day and come off the field with some confidence. But we got a long way to go before we get to a spring game. But yeah, we've had conversations about the mechanics of the spring game and what we want it to look like and how we want to break up our personnel.
Coach, you knighted a few guys just last week. What really went into the decision of that? What did they do to really earn that?
We talk about the characteristics that we want our players to have. You talk about their effort, they talk about their attitude, the toughness, the execution. Can they be trusted? Do they go hard all the time? Those are the things that I'm looking at. And now it's also, are they executing their job along with all those things? And the few guys that got knighted last Saturday after that scrimmage, I have seen that in them all the way back to January and all of our off-season workouts in the first half of spring practice. They've demonstrated those characteristics, so they deserve the right to be knighted and get that black stripe off. I was anticipating on doing some on Tuesday and Thursday here this week after these practices. Did not do that. I'm going to wait till Saturday scrimmage again to get some others. The guys that I think are getting really close, that list is starting to grow, which is a good thing. I wanted to. I just want to see them play a little bit more before I do it.
Chris, obviously you didn't have a depth chart when you started the spring. Are things starting to become clear at certain positions, and if there are, can you identify any of those?
Yeah, the depth chart is starting to come together at some spots more so than others. There's still some really good competition at certain spots. There's not a clear-cut 1 or 2 yet. We hope to get there by the end of spring, and if we don't, we'll take it on through the summer and training camp. But there are certain positions, the D-line being one, where the 4 guys with the 1s, they stay healthy. They're starting to separate themselves from the 2s, and that's pretty clear cut. A little bit on the offensive line, although there are some injuries on the offensive line where a couple of those guys will come back in training camp, so we'll see what happens then. But when you talk about the starting 5, some of that picture's starting to become a little bit clear.
We haven't asked much about the running back competition, but how's that shaping out right now?
It's kind of like the quarterback competition. There's good days and bad days with those guys. The issue that we have right now is just ball security, consistent ball security with those guys. The effort is there. They're still trying to learn the offense a little bit, but it's more about how hard do they go and do they secure the ball right now. And I couldn't tell you that either one of them has separated themselves in those 2 areas yet.
Chris, as far as the playbook stuff goes, how much has been installed through 2 weeks? How much do you hope to have done in by the end of camp? And what's been the process with that as far as feeding that stuff to these guys?
Well, good question. We're probably further ahead after 7 practices with our installation than what we had originally planned. Our guys came in and put in a lot of extra work in the off season, studying film, studying playbook stuff on their own, and really kind of impressed by the way they have picked some things up. We're kind of at a standstill right now because it's really about situational stuff right now. Last week we focused on some 3rd down. Today we focused on a lot of red zone stuff, and Saturday we'll be able to scrimmage 1st down, 2nd down, some 3rd down, and some red zone. Now those situational packages are very small right now. It's just kind of been an initial installation. Overall though, on offense and defense, I would say we do have more in at this point than I thought we would. We have more formations in on offense. We have more plays in on offense, more pass concepts in. Defensively, we have more pressures in than I thought we would. The players have handled them fairly well. It just got to the point where I said keep force feeding them. It's not perfect, it's not clean yet, but I at least want to get it in their head, and we'll clean it up as we go the second half of spring. We're getting close to installation being done from what I wanted to have done, or we wanted to have done on offense and defense. We got some more things to do on special teams, but right now after day 7, we're a little ahead of schedule, which is great. we just have to clean up a lot of stuff in the second half because some things aren't pretty.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you guys.